What's going on? We are checking back in on the market. So it's been, a little bit over a week now since the release of GD02, and I wanted to see where prices are at. Last week I did make a video going over what some of the kind of pre-release prices were. I made it I don't know, Thursday night or something, I can't remember, and I was encouraging people to buy singles because this set just isn't worth a lot. And out of the beginning of GD01, we saw some pretty high prices on a lot of things. This set didn't really see that same kind of inflect on the market. So let's check in and see what's going to be different. So coming out as the big winner as far as highest price currently is Barbatos First Form. In my experience, I've only opened up 2 boxes. I pulled one, and I've opened up a bunch of packs and stuff. I've pulled one Barbatos, and I feel like I've not seen a ton of people pulling Barbatos as much as a bunch of the other LRs in the set. So I don't know if that is part of the reason, if he's a harder LR to pull, or if that's just been my limited experience with it. But he's sitting around $30. We will be trying to pay close attention to the listing prices as well as the market prices, because on some of these cards we will notice that there's some pretty drastic differences as partially the market influxes, but also I think there are people, not so much on these cards, but when we go to the pluses here in a little bit, that people are buying up all of certain ones and causing the market to do unnatural things, as I do think at least in my area, at first GD02 was pretty plentiful for the opening weekend, but is all dried up and people are out again. So anyway, Barbatos First Form coming out as the big winner, going up a little bit. If you got some pre-releases, you could have got them for about $20 or so, and you would have been doing pretty good so far. But as far as a big come up, this Gusion rebake, which I don't know, I think people thought that he was going to be a good card for them in the beginning. Maybe they underestimated. In my experience, he's been easier to pull. I've pulled 4 of him, I think, in comparison to the one Barbatos. And so yeah, he's sitting at a listing price of actually overall $22, but a big come up from, you could have pre-ordered him at $7, $8, something like that. So I don't know, maybe people were low on him at first and have come to know that he's a really strong card. I thought everybody thought that he was going to be a very, very solid addition to purple. Both of these cards are. So I don't know why he was so cheap originally. Quabley is about where he was, a little bit cheaper now. Epyon is a little bit cheaper than he was. Psycho has stayed pretty consistent. He's been like sitting at that $15 mark from the beginning and is still about there. Let's see, G-Quux. He is down a little bit from $12. Zeta is down a little bit from $8. So again, most of these prices are actually not that different. Gundam X is down significantly. He was about $11. Now he's under $4 here in the listing prices. Gundam Age Normal was $5. Now he's $3.50. Versago was $3. Now he's $2.50. So about the same. Not that it matters. Elmeth from $4 to $1.50, and Kamaris was $7, $8. Now he's $1.50. So yeah, as far as the LRs go, you're looking for these 5 right here when you're opening packs. Everything else kind of sucks. Even the poster child here, which I wasn't very fond of this card. I will say, for the most part, this makes sense. I'm a little surprised that Epyon is doing as well as he is, personally. But other than that, these are the cards that I expected to be doing better in the meta. We're going to shift over to pluses here, and this is a little bit of a GD02 market update, as well as just the market in general. So these are just all of the pluses from GD01 and GD02. We are including both of them here because I thought it was kind of an interesting comparison, because I feel like a lot of people were saying, at least in my area and my locals and stuff, they were like, oh, I don't even know if I want GD02. Maybe GD01's better because all the prices are so cheap or whatever. But as things have kind of settled, and I've done the math here, it turns out at the moment at least that everything's pretty dang similar. I do think it's still probably better to be pulling GD02 at the moment. Possibly. It's hard to say. It depends on what you need for your collection, stuff like that as well. But we're gonna go over some things here, and like I said, there are some things to watch out for. Starting here with, and there's no pluses in here because I mean, these are the reasonable things. Like if you're gonna go buy a box, you know, these are the reasonable things that you can pull. Yes, can you hit a plus? Sure, but like, it's very, very, very difficult. So we have Gundam Epyon here as the leader here at about $80. This card, like I said, the LR itself has been doing better than I expected, but I think that this card being this expensive is mainly due to its art. Its art is incredible. Very, very pretty card. Possibly the best alt art from the set. You know, there's some really, really good ones. Kind of depends on your taste, obviously. Really, really strong one. I don't think anyone can contest that at least. It's up there for sure. Followed close by Overflowing Affection, still holding very, very strong. Of course, a great art and a great card. Kind of crazy that it is an uncommon plus, you know, as the most expensive, but you know, it is what it is. I do want to say, so going into this, there are more. If you look at the sets here, there's 33 pluses from Dual Impact and 29 from New Type Rising. I don't know why there's a difference between them, but so if you were to pull, it's not going to be exactly fair. Like I said, I did the math though. If you were to pull every plus from GD01, it's going to come up to a little bit over $700, where GD02 is a little bit over $900. But like I said, there are more. The average though does come out to for GD01, you're looking at about $25 for an average plus pull. And GD02 is $28 for an average plus pool. So like I said, it's a little bit better. If you do look here, so we have, this is from GD01, and then these three are GD01. So out of the top 5, 4 of them are GD02, and then we're followed by 3 GD01s, and then 2 more GD02s, 2 more GD01s. So they're fairly, you know, even back and forth, but in the top 5, 4 of them are GD02. I do want to pull up 4 here. To me, this is a ridiculous price, $65 for a pot. Now granted, like, you know, Marita still holds pretty good value, but this card was not that expensive. And well, I mean, it was expensive. It was like $40, you know, and but it, I mean, it shot up, you know, a considerable amount. And it could be the victim of, which you do have a recent sale of 67 still, but it could be the victim of just people overspending, or not overspending, but buying up the market. Because it is important to keep in mind, like, look, we only have 14 listings here, where something like Overflowing Affection has 58, despite it still being a very valuable card. A lot of these GD02 ones, you know, 25 is the highest actually. We have 14 here, 17, 14, where, you know, these GD01 listings we have 27, 50, 30. So the, you know, like I said, at least in my area, GD02 is dried up. I'm sure there'll be more coming out at some point, hopefully soon. And with those re-releases, kind of depending on how long they take, will definitely influence the pricing. Whether, you know, it takes a while, it might make all the GD02 stuff go up significantly more, where if it comes out pretty soon, we might see these prices drop. Or even if it takes a while, you know, whenever it does come out, I'm sure we will see things start to drop again. So Yeah, I'm not gonna go over everything here. There is a significant come up on this Gusion rebake as well, which again, gorgeous card. Like this one a lot. Let's see. Let's check out the stats on here. So the most recent sale is 53. Worth keeping that in mind. But was there now? See, this one has a bit of a different graph. Now, granted, I know all these graphs are very short. We don't have a lot of data to work with, but it actually started quite high, dipped. And even that's not a big difference. So you're going from 55 at a high to 50 at a low, or actually 45 seems to be the low and 70 was the high. But where was the 7? Well, where did the 7? Oh, there was a 70 sold recently, it says. Interesting. But regardless, the average here being 55, dropping down to an average of 50, and then now currently the average being 52. So, or 53 or whatever it is the market price. So staying pretty tight, but currently if you were in the market to buy one, the cheapest one is $68, and that's not even from even from a verified seller, you're jumping up a couple bucks. So which I do feel pretty good about, because I picked that up in a trade recently, so not gonna complain about that one. But I am gonna complain about the 4, because I haven't pulled any 4s. And I don't know, in my opinion, 65 is too much for that card. But everyone's open to their own opinions, and it's also it's right there next to the Psycho Gundam. I feel like, which is an awesome card, an awesome art. It seems a little crazy to me, like in comparison to the Quabley here, which I guess the Mon card's more than the Quabley as well. I don't know, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I do like the Haman art quite a bit. So art has something to do with it. And then if you look at the Quabley, 60. And then see again, I think right now, how many were sold? Oh yeah, these are being bought up quite a bit. So it looks like all the cheaper ones were bought up, and now we're pushed this thing up to 60, but the most recent sale price was 50. So keep those things in mind when you're looking at these prices. If you don't want it to go up, then don't pay that price. Now that doesn't mean someone else isn't going to pay that price and then make the market start to go up, but it's hard to say. I'm trying to see if there's any other big outliers where weird things seem to be happening. I'm happy I picked this card up for $7. I got a really, really good deal on that. I don't play it. I don't know, but it's a really pretty card. I wanted to add that to the collection. I feel like there was another one I was looking at that was a little strange, a little off. This one shot down crazy hard. I don't know if people maybe aren't liking this card as much as they thought or something. I've kind of had mixed feelings about all ranged attack, but it originally was like 45 or something. That one shot down crazy hard. No, it didn't start it. This is okay, well, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe the pricing, maybe nobody was actually buying it when I first looked at it. It says the highest sell price is 20. I don't know, I think it's a gorgeous card. I was just kind of shocked. I don't know. Which, 17 for a rare plus, I guess, is fine. Oh, yeah, this is the card. The card is Gray's Ritter, everyone's favorite card. Now, for the record, I don't hate this card. I know a lot of people hate this card, but it does seem that there's another believer like me out there that decided to buy up the market, as you see. Now, granted, it's actually, right there, we sold 33 of them, and then averaging around $9, and then continued to sell another 17, averaging $11.87, and another 16, averaging $12.96. So it looks like people are buying up this card, and if you were wanting to get one right now, $39 is the cheapest you can get one. I do think it is a gorgeous art. I like this card quite a bit art-wise, and I don't hate the card. Now, granted, I haven't actually tested the card, so I don't know. Yes, obviously, giving your opponent first strike when you're fighting this is bad, but anytime you have a cheap card with high stats, you have to give it a bad effect. There's a lot of cards out there like that in different games. There's even some cards like that in this game that have a cool effect but have like 1 health or something, like there's trade-offs for things. And this one having a really nice body, I mean, this is a Kshatriya body, while being in the white archetype, while its pilot is an additional unforeseen incident, and you can also just play an unforeseen incident, and there's a lot of ways to play around with this. Now granted, I'm not saying you should be out here paying $39 for it, don't take that away from this, but the interesting things to watch out for on the market. Now, let me refresh this page real quick. Sometimes the images don't load in for whatever reason. Let's see. Yeah, I think everything else looks pretty normal. But yeah, here we are. If there's certain things that you're watching out for, like I keep different. I'm wanting to get a playset of these gun tanks, so I keep a lot of tabs open for different things that I am watching out for. But for the most part, I wanted to kind of focus on the GD02 stuff with a little bit of just a comparison to GD01. Do you think in the long term, I know the big question is, when is restocks going to come, and that's going to be the big factor that's going to make a lot of determinations here. But do you think that the GD02 set is going to say, like I said, right now the average is basically the same, leaning slightly favorable towards GD02, but do you think GD02 is going to end up staying above it, or is it going to go down in price and make GD01 the better set to pull from eventually? Yeah, let me know what you think about all this. Are there cards you're hoping to get? Me personally, like I said, I only have one regular Barbatos, and I don't have any of the LRs. I really want this card. The LR I think is gorgeous. I've picked up 2 of the Psychos so far. I'd like to get another one. I don't have any of the 4s. Would like a playset of those. I've picked up 1 rebake. Now currently I'm not playing purple. I don't know if I will be playing purple. If I do, I'd like to pick up more rebakes, but at the moment I'm happy with the 1. And especially if the price is going to be moving in this direction, I'm not looking to spend that for that card. But it is, even if I don't play it, it's a cool one to have in my binder and look pretty. Like I said, I'm very happy I picked up that one. It's one of my favorite arts from the set. I would like an epyon, but I'm not paying that. If I pull one out of a pack, I'll probably keep it. That being said, if somebody wanted to trade that for a Psycho and or for additional things and whatever, I might end up doing that. Still, it's hard to say, because I lean towards stuff that I play, trying to make that better. Well, also I do want to say I was hoping to put out a deck list or 2 this weekend, and I don't know. I didn't have great time at locals this weekend. I had 2, one on Thursday, one on Friday, and I didn't do super hot. I was actually pretty disappointed with my green-white Xeon deck, despite it testing very strong on Sims. I don't know. Part of me feels like sometimes you just have a bad weekend, and it's just like you just don't feel lucky. On Friday, I ended up playing a different version of Blue Red Ping I was trying out, because I feel like you can build that deck a million different ways. And so I was trying a different one out, and like the very first game I lost, I had like a bajillion command cards or bases and stuff. It's like if I could draw 1 or have 1 in my shields, I win the game, just instantly win the game. And so there was like 10 plus cards I was looking for. That was actually maybe more than that, because if I could have done a ping, if I could have drawn into a card that did a ping, I just won the game. I needed 1 ping damage to clear a token to win, and for like 2 or 3 turns, I couldn't get any of the command cards or bases or nothing, and I was like, and none were in my shields, just completely all units, and I was like, this is This is ridiculous. Like, in my, let's see, do I have it pulled up? This is the list I was playing. Again, I don't know if this is, the list I'll be going forward with, but if I could have drawn all ranged attack or siege ploy or battle of aces or Relula or just anything, I just needed to be able to do a ping damage. And I for like 3 turns, I couldn't do that. And I lost because of it. And I was because he just was keeping his dudes, in non-rested. And then he was just top decking until he had enough cards to finish me. He was playing a purple deck. And I was very frustrated with that. So like I said, I don't know. I felt like I was just extremely unlucky this weekend. I felt like there was zero possibility I should have lost that game. And it ended up happening. So I don't know. I will continue to do more testing and hopefully be able to put out deck lists, because again, I don't really want to share them unless I feel confident. Now granted, I just showed this one. I wanted to test out the deck without Amuro and Gundam and just put even more ping cards into the deck. So I enjoy it. If this is the best way to play it, I don't know. It's a different way. I don't know. So hopefully I'll have, I guess, consider that a somewhat of a deck list that I've put out. Like I said, it doesn't have my full stamp of approval. It is fun. I do enjoy the deck, but I needed to do. Unfortunately, I can only do 2 locals a week. I really wish I could do more, but with my work schedule, that's unfortunately all I'm able to do. I'd love to know what you all are having success with. There's been a lot of blockers in my locals as well. I wasn't expecting the meta to, and granted, well, maybe not, this isn't the meta, things are shifting, but I've seen people playing, I was like, oh, people are going to switch out Zawarts for Rick Diaz and stuff like that, but I've seen some people playing Zawart and Rick Diaz and Striker Pack and Elfrith and just playing every blocker, and into the L strikes, into the free, and just playing every blocker known to man. And I'm just like, oh, I didn't foresee this. I didn't think this is what people, and it's miserable. Like, people are sitting there going into overtime every single time, and it's just like play a blocker pass, and the other person play a blocker pass, and I'm like, this is just not fun. It's not fun to play against. It's not fun to watch. Nothing is happening. So I hope that is not indicative of what the meta will actually end up being, but I don't know. I got to go back to the drawing board, I feel like, a little bit and figure out what I'm doing. But yeah, let me know what y'all are having good experiences with and feel like are working out, and other than that, hopefully I will see you all soon.